Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
He should have never slapped Chris. I'm not watching the movie. It's not happening.
You don't understand. Do you understand why he slapped Chris? Did you see in that moment from probably what he was dealing with?
What was he dealing with? What the f was he dealing with?
Over a year later, it seemed like everyone in Hollywood has something to say about Will Smith and Oscar's slap. During the 94th Academy Awards, celebrities chimed in on Will Smith and Chris Rock's brawl in interviews and on social media. Some supported the King Richard actor, while some denounced his violent deed, and others backed Rock. So, who are some of the celebrities that have publicly insulted Smith on live television? About half of these will wow you. Stay tuned to find out who we're referring to. Jimmy Kimmel, your favorite talk show presenter, was the first celebrity to publicly condemn Will Smith's erratic behavior.
I would have went right out there. There would have been I wouldn't even have waited for somebody to say something.
Do you think? Do you think he would have?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would have went right out on stage because somebody needed to go out there at that time.
Kimmel stated that he has no doubt about how he would have handled Will Smith slapping Chris Rock if he had hosted the Oscars last March. Kimmel has previously joked about fleeing if he was on stage during Smith's attack, but on a recent broadcast of Howard Stern's SiriusXM radio show, the late-night comic took a more serious tone, seemingly criticizing the disgraced Hollywood star. "Oh, I would have went right out there. I wouldn't have even waited for somebody to say something." He said, "I would have went right out on stage because somebody needed to go out there at that time. And I think that was one of the drawbacks to having 3 hosts, is it wasn't clear who should go out there."
I think I probably would have started talking to Will Smith. I think that would, who was sitting there. I think I would have opened it like, what are you doing? Like, what, and I think that
Kimmel would have begun talking to Will Smith and questioned him, "What are you doing?" He stated, as he hosted the program in 2017, the famous comedian recounted going up on stage to address the erroneous announcement of La Land as Best Picture over Moonlight. "Nobody knew what was supposed to happen. No one told me to go out on stage. I said, I guess I better go up because I'm the only one with a mic on," he told Stern. Yet, Kimmel is not the only guy who thought Will Smith's behavior was juvenile and risky. Following the now infamous Oscar episode, legendary actor Jim Carrey has also publicly chastised his fellow actor.
I would have went right out there. There would have been I wouldn't even have waited for somebody to say something.
Do you think?
I'm not impressed. Like everyone else who watched the 2022 Oscars, Jim Carrey witnessed Will Smith slap Chris Rock at the event, and he wasn't pleased with what followed thereafter. "I was sickened," the 60-year-old said during a Tuesday, March 29, 2022, appearance on CBS Mornings. "I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless en masse. It really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore." Following his argument with the 57-year-old Saturday Night Live alum, the 53-year-old rapper went on to accept the Best Actor Oscar for his portrayal of King Richard. As Carrey noted, the entire audience in the Dolby Theater stood to cheer the Philadelphia native after his victory. Smith was nominated for Best Actor twice in 2002 and 2007 but lost both times. Although Rock did not file charges against Smith after the incident, Carrey told Gayle King that the Ollie star should have been detained. He doesn't want the inconvenience, the Truman Show star said, explaining why the grown-ups actor didn't call the cops. "I'd have announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is gonna be there forever. It's gonna be ubiquitous. That insult is gonna last a very long time." This is what he said.
"Video is gonna be there forever. It's gonna be ubiquitous. That insult is gonna last a very long time."
It's fine to yell from the audience if you don't like a joke, but you do not have the right to step up on stage and smash somebody in the face because they shouted words, the Canadian native continued. The altercation, according to King, escalated to that level. But Carrey disagreed. "It didn't escalate." He said it came out of nowhere because Will has something going on inside him that's frustrating. "I wish him the best, I really do. I don't have anything against Will Smith. He's done great things, but that was not a good moment. It cast a pall over everybody's shining moment." You won't believe the next person who chastised Smith for his impolite behavior at last year's Oscars. O.J. Simpson became the latest celebrity to weigh in on the incident in a roughly 2-minute video released on Twitter.
I think Will was wrong. Look, I understood the feeling. Now, in my life, I've been through a lot of crap when I was raising 2 young kids, and every comedian in the country.
Now, I thought the question I would be getting all day would be the question about the overtime rule of the NFL. He said, Well, I don't totally agree with it. But the question I've been getting is Will Smith and Chris Rock. Simpson, who was on trial in 1994 and 1995 for the killings of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman, said he doesn't condone Smith's behavior but understands it. It was unfortunate. I think Will was wrong. Look, I understood the feeling, he said. In my life, I've been through a lot of crap when I was raising 2 young kids, and every comedian in the country had an OJ routine. And don't think I wouldn't want to slap a couple of those guys, but you gotta accept it's humor. He admitted that Chris Rock's joke, which made fun of Jada Pinkett Smith's shorn head, was semi-unfunny. He continued, I know this, after what happened to me in Las Vegas, if I would have done that in front of 1 billion people around the world, they would have given me life without. I'm just saying. The caption next to the video stated, he was wrong, but I understand the sentiment. If you think we're done yet, think again because Joe Rogan has a few words to say that would make Will Smith supporters feel embarrassed.
Chris Rock said one of the most mild jokes ever.
It was pretty mild.
Jada
I thought
Pinkett is bald. Apparently, I didn't know this. I found out after the fact that she didn't shave her head.
Podcast host Joe Rogan chastised Smith for hitting comedian Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards, calling his response a foolish impulse. Rogan addressed the viral incident on one of his shows with mixed martial artist Josh Barnett when he notably termed the ordeal a foolish impulse on Smith's side.
He was thinking that far ahead at all.
Maybe he wasn't, but
I
maybe
think
he's
he was
like
being
in this
emotionally
moment,
fragile.
probably.
And he acted on impulse.
Sure.
And I think it's a foolish impulse that you do when you know there's no consequences.
I
So
don't
you're
think,
hitting
but
a
here's
very
the thing.
small
I'm going to say
person.
that
I don't think he was thinking that far ahead and all, Rogan said in response to Barnett. I think he was being emotionally fragile. He acted on impulse. I think it's a foolish impulse that you do when you know there's no consequences. Chris Rock's doing his fucking job. He continued, you don't go and sit in the front row. You're a star at the Oscars. There's a professional comedian whose job is to roast people. That's what he's doing. And what he did was not even insulting. It was a mild joke.
Well, how do you have malicious intent in a mild joke?
Tell
There's
me
no
about
malicious,
it.
No,
I'm
it's
saying
nonsense.
I don't agree that he did.
I'm telling you, dude, this is all rational thinking about an irrational act.
It's an irrational act, but
he was emotionally fragile and he acted on impulse in a staggeringly stupid way.
I'll tell you something.
Rogan also believed Smith would not face legal ramifications for hitting Rock on live television. The LAPD acknowledged that Rock was not charging Smith but was eager to work with him if he chose to do so in the future. I'm telling you, this is all rational thinking about an irrational act, Rogan argued. He was emotionally fragile and he acted on impulse in a staggeringly stupid way. Even politicians are openly attempting to harm Smith. Angela Rayner, deputy leader of the British Labour Party, said it would be absolutely unacceptable if she went over the dispatch box and attacked Boris Johnson while criticizing Smith. Rayner claimed that the Oscar winner set a poor example for young people. Violence is never the answer, she told Sky News, adding, I get passionate and upset, we all do. But, if I went over the dispatch box and lamped Boris Johnson because I didn't like what he said because he offended me, then that would be completely unacceptable, and I think it was unacceptable that Will did that, so I think it was right that he apologized. She added, you lose the debate if you resort yourself to violence. Earlier, Will Quince, England's education minister, stated that children were taught in school that violence is never, ever the answer. It's so disappointing because I'm a huge fan of Will Smith, and I think violence is never, ever the answer, he remarked. Back in the comic world, famed rib cracker Dave Chappelle gave his thoughts on Will Smith, which were not so kind.
I've ever seen. This nigga Will Smith is a wild dude for that one. That's a fucking thing to do. Slap the shit out of Chris. Called to slap her around the world. You're goddamn right. The war stopped in Ukraine for 6 minutes when that happened. Our ancestors was in Georgia 100 years ago picking cotton. I heard that shit.
Reminding his European audience that Will Smith, 53, comes from a poor neighborhood in Philadelphia, USA. Chappelle stated that only moments before winning Best Actor for his work in the film King Richard, he acted like he was back in Philadelphia. Will did the impression of a perfect person for 30 years, and he ripped his mask off and showed us he was as ugly as the rest of us. Chappelle, known for his sarcastic comedic routines, added, whatever the consequences are, I hope he doesn't put his mask back on again and lets his real face breathe. So, there you have it. Smith appears to have made a lot of enemies in the entertainment industry. It remains to be seen whether he can rehabilitate his reputation. That's all for now. Till next time, bye.